Se você investe em cripto, eu tenho certeza que você usa uma exchange, uma corretora para fazer isso. E uma das maiores preocupações das pessoas é deixar a grana na corretora, porque como diz a máxima do mercado, not your keys, not your coins. Agora, imagina uma corretora que não só faz a custódia dos seus ativos, mas te encoraja a tirar de lá para o ambiente descentralizado. Pode parecer meio contraditório, porque o objetivo da corretora é justamente deixar o dinheiro dentro dela e não tirar de lá. Mas é exatamente isso que a OKX faz. Eu tô aqui hoje no headquarter deles, inclusive do lado do carro da McLaren, que é uma das patrocinadas pela OKX, para trazer para vocês uma entrevista exclusiva com a presidente global da companhia, para falar exatamente sobre isso. Como que a empresa evoluiu para ter mais provas de reservas, para ter mais transparência e para incentivar o que é melhor para o usuário e não só para ela, criando soluções descentralizadas no mundo da Web3, com soluções de pagamento, inclusive com novidades que vão muito em breve chegar até o Brasil. Então fique comigo nesse vídeo para você ver tudo que a Hong, que é a presidente global da OKX, falou para mim nessa entrevista exclusiva. Tem muita coisa bacana e várias novidades que vem por aí. Vamos nessa! Ó, e se você gosta desse tipo de conteúdo, não esquece de se inscrever aqui no canal, dar o seu like no vídeo, porque isso é super importante perceber que tá no caminho certo e trazer mais desses pra você. Inclusive, eu peguei um avião, dois na verdade, vim pra Singapura, do outro lado do mundo, só pra gravar essa entrevista. Então, dê o seu joinha aqui no vídeo pra eu saber que ele tá sendo útil e vamos pro resto da entrevista aqui. Então, pessoal, estamos aqui com a Hong, que é a presidente global do OKX. A entrevista vai ser em inglês e aí depois a gente vai ter aqui, ó, os closed captions pra vocês, beleza? Hong, thank you so much for having us. It's our second time in Singapore and it's awesome to be here. I think just as a starter, if you could introduce yourself to the audience, I know that you come from a TradFi background and you've been in crypto for a long time now.
Yeah.
So how was all these years from coming from, you were from Goldman Sachs, right?
Yeah.
And then coming to OKX.
Yeah. First of all, welcome again, Bazan.
Thank you.
It's great to have you and your team in Singapore in our office. It's always good to have friends like yourself to come here and actually visit us in person, part of our team in person at least. We also have a Brazil team locally, obviously, as you know.
Yeah.
For myself, I have been at OKX for 6 years now, counting. And previously, I spent about 10 years on Wall Street, 8 years at Goldman doing investment banking for financial institutions. And later, I did some growth investment as well, growth equity investment.
Cool.
So it's been a fun ride. I feel like at different stage, I learned different things. Learned a lot from Goldman. From my Goldman years, I learned a lot when doing investment. But my experience at OKX has been most rewarding. I think I'm very lucky to be able to work with a lot of people who have the same passion for the industry, who has the same level of resilience and also focus on practical progress, pragmatic progress, and the passion to actually work and find the right path forward and build the right product for the team, for their customers. So it's been a fun ride, yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
I'm curious to know what made you switch from traditional finance to crypto?
I think it's the right timing, it's the right industry, and it's the right team. Because I was at Goldman. I joined Goldman in 2008, actually, during financial crisis.
Wow.
And it was kind of scary moments. But luckily, I was in financial institutions, so we actually ended up working on a lot of financing deals for banks to basically save them from falling apart. And then after that, I was able to work on different types of financial institutions as my clients, fintech companies, payment companies, insurance companies, asset management companies. But there's always something wrong that I feel. And throughout cycles, you see that, there are things, deja vu again and again.
Yeah.
There are always financial crises that came around as part of the cycle. And then you see, generally the mass got hurt the most, and they're always too big to fail type of situation, right? And there's those moral debate. And then later, when I did investment, growth equity investment, I came across OKCoin, which was back then a platform for people to buy Bitcoin and Litecoin in China. So it's the biggest platform. That was actually the first time when I started to look seriously at Bitcoin. and study what it is. And that was when I thought that, oh, this is something that's very new. It's designed with a very different mindset. It actually removes intermediary. It basically not only challenges how financial institutions should be built, but actually also how you should think about value, how you should think about money, how you should think about all the fundamental foundation for everything that we know. And it's pretty, it's hard. It was a hard process for me to actually, warm up to it. But then ultimately, realize that this is something that's very new and can actually help address some of the issues.
And you mentioned that you joined Goldman in 2008. Was around the crisis, was around the creation of Bitcoin as well.
Yeah.
And we learned from the crisis that we have to be in control of our money. And one of the things that I like the most about OKX, and I wanted to ask you, is that if I compare to other exchanges, I would say that OKX is the exchange in the world that most incentivizes the user to get the money off the exchange.
Absolutely.
To the centralized space, to the centralized space.
Yeah.
So I know that for some people that might be watching, this may sound a bit contradictory, because from a centralized exchange perspective, you may want all the funds to be there, but you have lots of products and very good products to incentivize people to go to Web3.
Yeah.
And I recall an interview that you gave to CoinDesk, I guess in the beginning of this year, where you mentioned that you had more assets on the centralized exchange compared to the centralized one.
Yes.
So how do you view this from the OKX perspective in terms of incentivizing the user to go to OKX wallet or OKX Pay and all the other environment that you provide?
I think that's the direction, and that's the right side of the history that we need to be on. We do have a centralized platform. That's our core traditional business and product. And we do custody for our customers, for those who come to our centralized platform to trade and to stake and whatnot. But that's not because we want to custody for people, right? That's because as part of the services people look for, part of the ancillary service is to custody for convenience. However, we believe that gist of crypto is to have the ability to custody for yourself, have the ability to control your own assets, so that your ability to use your assets, to move your assets around, to get more value out of your assets is totally in your hands. It's not subject to any third-party intermediary. So we do believe that that's an important part, actually a critical part of what crypto is. And as a result of that, from our product and development perspective, we've always spend a lot of emphasis and resources in developing our self-custody wallet, in making that wallet increase the interruptibility of that wallet, increase the security of the wallet, and then also put that wallet in the same app with the CeFi so that it's easy for the customers to actually move money out of it. And we want our customers actually to move money from CeFi into the self-custody wallet so that they can actually learn how to take care of their own assets. And also on the other side of it, we also realize that there are always a part of convenience that people look for, particularly if you look for wider adoption. A larger portion of the population would want convenience and may even want to, take convenience over self-autonomy, if you will, if there is a trade-off. And we hope that we can offer products that does not put people into that spot of having to choose between convenience and autonomy. So we do have a product that we push out to be able to give people that ability to have still the convenience of a Web 2 experience, but at the same time retain their autonomy and control of the asset. So that's a big part of our product pipeline, and how to offer the Web 3 product, that self-custody, the ability to actually control your own money, your own future, but at the same time still have some sort of convenience. So that's the direction that we continue to invest in.
And you mentioned convenience, and I think one of the biggest challenges, at least what I see in Brazil, because people are very new to the investment in crypto, it's very easy to use the CeFi side.
Absolutely.
But when you go to DeFi, you have to remember all the seed
Yeah.
phrase and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
deal with addresses and so. So I believe that to a certain level, this kind of abstraction that you have to put into this product is very important. So how do OKX approaches this roadmap of developing a Web3 environment, but that like the average guy in the daily basis can use it with no friction?
We do have that product infrastructure in place now. I think that our customers in Brazil will also see more of that coming. Hopefully, for the later half of the year, we actually have the ability to develop a so-called smart wallet, so that our customers can still control their own key. Any platform like ourselves would not be able to move assets out of your wallet or your account without you signing off on that transaction. But at the same time, it will be an experience that is almost like a CeFi experience. So we have that capability, and we will be able to hopefully push harder on that product later this year or early next year.
Awesome. And then when we go back to the CeFi side, we know that since FTX, all the proof of reserves theme is very important.
Yeah.
But I think maybe people don't know that OKX has been publishing the proof of reserves from before the fallout of FTX. How do you guys came to the conclusion that publishing those proof of reserves was something important, and how do you view it? Because I know that there's a lot of discussion in terms of the different methods employed for that, and how can we be assured that it's a very trustworthy information. But I know that you deal with in a very serious way. So how are you approaching that?
Yeah, our team have actually iterated on our proof of reserve framework, and product infrastructure. And our initial version was somewhat different from where we are right now. I think what we have right now is way more advanced than our initial initial iteration. Right now, we have actually ZK proof technology. Initially, it was just pure Merkle tree. Right now, we have ZK proof technology. We actually enable more, the proof of reserve capability over more assets over our initial iteration. And we continue to look for additional upgrades of our proof of reserve, structure. And, I think that feedback that we have received from the community has actually contributed to all the various iterations that we have been through for that particular program. We actually believe that it is an advantage of the industry because of the technology, right? Because of that on-chain auditability, where you can actually verify your assets against your liability. And at the same time, when you utilize that on-chain transparency, you also find a way to wrap things around so that there's tight control and protection around privacy of the individual customers' information involved. And you can do that almost real time. Originally, we were actually talking about how we can actually speed up the frequency of the program. Right now, we settled down on a monthly basis because we think that it's a good cadence at this stage. If we have to do it more frequently, obviously we'll be a little bit more costly. We just need a bit more server to support that. But we can do it if we have to do it. And we may also continue to iterate it down in the future, where we do that proof of reserve level for each local jurisdiction, so that every jurisdiction, every local entity can actually see their own proof of reserve. That is on-chain, that's auditable, and I think it's way more effective than traditional audited financials. Yeah. So I think as the whole financial industry continue to move on-chain with the wave of stablecoin, when you see different builders come and start to build different dApps on top of that stablecoin ecosystem, and you see the traditional financial industry move on-chain, right? Then I think an interesting phenomenon that we may see is, the whole traditional audit can evolve toward this proof of reserve framework, where it's more automatic, it's more transparent, and it doesn't have to be an annual audit or quarterly audit. It can be monthly audit. It can be even weekly or real-time audit, depending on the scale of certain. DApps can be automatically audited, and that audit program can be built into a smart contract and provide a peace of mind to users and a community in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very benefit of the new digital era that we are looking at, that we are shaping together.
Yeah, in terms of like having peace of mind that you mentioned, let's talk about Brazil now, because the Brazilian people, they receive lots of products from all around the world in terms of crypto. And then we know that some exchanges, and OKX is one of those examples, they are like creating bases in Brazil. And one of the things when we talk about proof of reserve is that all the custody of OKX Brazil is done locally, so it makes customer more like, it has more safety in terms of legal things for them, so that they have all the custody in the same country. And we know also that there are specific products made for Brazilian people. You mentioned stablecoins, for example, and when you talk about countries like Brazil, Argentina, and all those who have very high inflation, and in our case, the BRL is devaluating against the dollar. It's very important for us Brazilians to have products that make us more exposed to the dollar and more exposed to crypto in general.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand with you, how do you view the Latam market and then the Brazilian market in terms of, are there any kind of products that stand out in Brazil, different from Asia, for example, or are there any particular things that you see in Brazil?
Yeah. We do. We always, when we are looking at a market and building our local presence, the first step is always think about what does the market need and how do we actually locally customize our product. So for Brazil, we have already localized a lot of the elements in the product. Obviously language, but more importantly, local fiat on-ramp, local payment capabilities, fully integrated into the local payment system. By the way, Brazil payment, domestic payment is seamless, probably the best of the world. And also local customer service. We think that it's really important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of difference.
That is present, that actually speak Portuguese, that is there locally, and understand the local needs and respond real time in the local time zone. I think that's important. We also have been have been working on very Brazil-specific product, and we actually have one major product launch that will be coming to the market. That's just it's specific for our Brazilian customers, and I have high hopes for it because we feel like it's a product that can actually really meet the needs of the market. And I'm hoping that hopefully by the end of the year we'll start to see it in the market, and hopefully we can have you and your team try it out as well, see if you like it or not, and give us product feedback.
If I had to guess, I would say payments, because people,
Yes.
in Brazil have a very big discussion in terms of taxes that we pay. I don't have the full comparison with other countries, but we pay lots of taxes. And at the same time, our currency is devaluating. So people are, at some time, I think that the Brazilians are more interested in USDT, but paying abroad than Bitcoin itself, because it has very high usability for them. Yeah. So this is something really good.
I believe right now, actually, we have made a USDG available in Brazil market, and you can actually earn a yield on USDG. 4.1% yield on USDG holding in your OKX account. So if you haven't tried out, let me know. Once you give it a try. Yeah,
I did.
Any feedback, let us know. Yeah.
No, it's really good because since we have a very high fixed income rate in Brazil, people are used to having this fixed income with investments. So when they have it with dollar as well, it's good because right now the dollar is a low point of price, and it may be more expensive in the future, as well as having all those yield during the year. And
we want to be able to develop, I think for Brazil, we want to be able to develop our OKX app into your new money app so that you consider it as your new wallet. You can put your assets into it. That assets can earn yield in the format of USD, DG, or whatever US backed stablecoin. You can use it to pay, to transact either in Brazil or outside Brazil. So that's the goal. In addition to trading or yield-bearing products that you can find with us. So hopefully that's just a very powerful, digital wallet, so to speak.
Still, when we look at Brazil, people are also looking to what's happening in the other countries in the world, especially in the USA right now, because all the narratives in crypto, they seem to be there in terms of regulation and TradFi coming into the space. I was wondering how OKX views this movement of more traditional finance companies moving into crypto space. I know that, for example, USDT, USDC, they have been very popular for a long time, but now they're way more popular with those institutions. And you came from this kind of background. So what do you think was like the main thing that changed in terms of mindset for those companies?
I think it's regulatory clarity.
Oh, okay,
yeah. I think the utility that a stablecoin based layer can offer is always there, and it's pretty clear. It's not disputable because the stablecoin layer really particularly increase the efficiency and reduce the cost when it comes to cross-border transactions, when it comes to cross multiple entities, financial institutions. A lot of the financial institutions are actually looking at stablecoin and blockchain and saw great opportunity of cost cutting because of the technology. But I think previously the regulatory clarity was really lacking, particularly in US. And as you can imagine, the center of Wall Street when it comes to TradFi is still in US. A lot of the institutional capital is very much influenced by how the regulatory framework treats crypto and treats stablecoin. So I think the recent development in U.S. Regulation when it comes to how stablecoin will be treated, how Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto projects will be treated, how centralized platform that offered crypto services will be treated, and how decentralized platform and wallet that operate in this space will be treated. I think all those questions are being addressed, and because of that, I think the traditional financial institutions open up, right? Particularly when it comes to stablecoin, it's very clear that that's an area that's a very low risk, suddenly a low risk area for them to invest in, and the risk of not getting involved is way higher than getting involved. So you see a outburst of activities there.
Yeah, I heard someone talking once that now that crypto is understood as an asset class, there's no neutral. Either you're long or you're short. So if you're not in the space, you're short in it. So you shouldn't be. But I know that like stablecoins are kind of a killer app in crypto. They are very important, the backbone of the environment itself. But are there any other narratives that you see that are becoming stronger now in terms of adoption, and mainly with the TradFi coming to the space?
I think it's really the financial layer being built on top of stablecoin. That's a very clear next step. Even when it comes to real world assets, I think there's actually a lot of movement already. Institutions like Franklin Templeton working up their Benji token, tokenized assets. It's just a very clear trend, right? Because that enable them to reach more audience in real time, and enables them to reduce a lot of the transaction cost when it comes to being able to settle the assets against the traditional assets. I think we actually work very closely with some of those institutional financial players and try to bridge the gap between crypto and TradFi, and to enable more capital efficiency for institutional capital to play in the space. So it's just going to, I think there are additional regulatory guidance I think the institutions are looking for when it comes to real world assets, but there's a lot of substantial progress already in that front. Yeah.
I have two more quick questions for you. The first one, since we're in Singapore, is there any particular thing here in terms of regulation or the space itself that you think that other countries should mirror in their regulations as well?
I think it's going to be really hard for different regulators to just copy what others are doing. You know, we actually operate in multiple regulated jurisdictions. Singapore is one. We have VARA for Middle East. We have MiCA for Europe, MiCA and MiFID for Europe. We have licenses in Australia with FSLA, AFSL, and we also have state-by-state MBS licenses in US. You know, obviously there's also the effort to get a federal level license in state. So and Bahamas too. So every jurisdiction has its own variation because the market structure in every country is different. Yeah. The capital and economy structure in every country is different. I think every regulator's priorities, top priority is protecting their retail customers. I think that's just number one, right? But when it comes to how to achieve that, and their traditional financial, when it comes to their TradFi regulatory framework, also varies for every market. So how to actually build your digital asset or crypto regulatory framework to connect with your TradFi infrastructure. That's the question that every regulator needs to address to be able to address. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, why it's very challenging to have a simple, copy and paste. Yeah. So, we actually have very proactive in having, proactive conversations with regulators and try to contribute our own product know-how, industry know-how, and our experience in different jurisdictions. And share those experience with different regulators when they try to evaluate what we should do. It always starts with understanding our product and our business, and then they will take it back and think about their own status quo and think about, okay, here's what we should do next. But we are always happy to share our perspective in that process to help them build. But ultimately, the regulators need to decide what they want to pick. Yeah. MAS is a very sophisticated and a serious regulator, and we've got a lot of guidance and framework from them. So I think they are very careful and focused on protecting retail customers, which is right. I think it's actually the right approach to taking very cautious steps. But at the same time, you also it also comes to when there are players who are not really following the rule, right? Do you actually how much you actually enforce? That's another part of the piece of the puzzle. And again, I think MS has done a great job in balancing those two. Yeah. So cool. We feel grateful.
And the last one, if you were to write a tweet for all the community in crypto with a message for the future, what would you say?
Wow, that's a
challenging
one. That's a good one. Community. Good things come with time. Huddle and build.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.